Hi, I'm Dr. Akia DeBarros-Gomes, Curator of Social History at the New Bedford Whaling Museum, and you're about to be treated to a night of a musical mosaic, music from different cultures around the world, from Chinese music to Italian and Irish music and Portuguese music, something you'll really enjoy. This is part of our Common Ground project, which explores the lived experience of New Bedford residents, Greater New Bedford residents. The way we're going to accomplish this is by collecting community stories. So after this program, or whenever you have a chance, please take a look at commongroundmosaic.org to see how you can share stories with us. The question I usually get, or the comment I usually get is, I don't have any stories. And we think everyone has a story to share. We've received stories about immigration to the city. We've received stories about a typical day for Greater New Bedford residents. We've received stories about walking through New Bedford streets in the wintertime. Any story is welcome, and every story is welcome. So we definitely ask and encourage you to participate in this project. It will result in a 2022 exhibition in the museum, but more importantly, all of your stories, videos, and audio files will be cataloged and archived in our library for generations to come. So enjoy tonight's program, and please take a look at commongroundmosaic.org. And if you have any additional questions for me, please send me an email at stories@whalingmuseum.org. Enjoy the show and have a good evening.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Peter Zay, and this is Emmy Holmes-Hicks with me here. And first of all, I want to say thank you so much to the New Bedford Whaling Museum and all their great staff for bringing us in here and helping us out. You guys are awesome. And I also want to make a special thanks to the New Bedford Symphony, who are supporting this project as well. And actually, especially, I want to just say the New Bedford Symphony has been incredibly supportive to their musicians. Emmy is the principal second violin, and I'm a cellist in the symphony, and so they've been great to the musicians in this difficult time. Thank you, David Prentice and the New Bedford Symphony. So why are we here? Well, you know, music, like was mentioned, music is obviously an expression that is unique to the different cultures and people that have come to New Bedford, and every country has, you know, very special styles and different instruments and all these things. But you know, I think personally that one important thing about music is it's a universal language. It brings us all together, and that's really, I mean, think about it. So we dance together, we sing together, we play together, we have the same emotions when we hear music, and the same stories come out of the music. And I think that's a really important aspect when it comes to immigration and all the different people that have come to New Bedford. And really, it's why we play music. It's a little bit like the symphony, in fact. The symphony has many musicians from all over the world who play in the orchestra, and then we play music from all over the world. So anyway, you know, it was a challenge to decide what pieces for us to play, because there's so many great countries that have so many great musicians and people. But we had to decide, obviously, to pick something. I think we went for things that we felt more familiar with. And, you know, we couldn't limit ourselves to our instruments. We have a violin, a cello, and a guitar. Okay, right? We're actually going to play some pieces that were scored for 50, 60 people. We're going to, you know, bring that down to 2 people. We're going to play a lot of vocal music tonight, because I think that vocal music is the folk music. It's the music that the people can sing, because, you know, you don't need to know an instrument to sing a song, right? Your voice is your instrument. So this is the music of the people. So luckily we're not going to sing tonight, but your violin is going to soar like an opera singer, and we're going to do a lot of song with our instruments. And then at the end, we're actually lucky that Emmy is here, because she's an amazing fiddle player. So of course we're going to do some Irish jigs and reels and things and songs. And we have Kevin Doyle over here. You'll see him later. He's going to join us. He's amazing. So that'll be at the end. So we're very lucky. So let's get started.
All right. So we are going to start our musical tour with a set of klezmer tunes. Starting in the mid-1800s, New Bedford made room for a huge wave of Jewish immigrants. They were fleeing oppression from Eastern Europe and Russia, and many of these newcomers worked as merchants and grocers, supporting the cotton mill workers and outfitting the ships. And the klezmer music that they brought with them, you can easily identify by the sort of characteristic expressive melodies. They're almost reminiscent of the human voice. And in the 3 tunes that we'll play for you, especially the second one, you'll hear these musical ornaments that sound almost like laughing or even sobbing. So we'll share with you Frelix from Warsaw, Doina, and finally Leading the In-Laws Home. Thank you. We're going to continue our journey, and next we're going to visit Portugal. In Portugal, there was a big immigration in the 19th century. New Bedford gained worldwide reputation as the greatest whaling port in the world, and it was the Portuguese immigrants that formed the backbone of the whaling industry, both on the wharves and on the high seas. We'd like to share with you 2 Portuguese fado songs. They're both expressive and melancholic, and these fado songs can be described using the Portuguese word saudade, which is a very unique word, and it's a word that can't be directly translated. It's very special to the Portuguese people and to the language, and the best translation is longing. So you'll hear that in these 2 fado songs. So our journey will now continue. We're going now to China, and I would like to share with you a piece for solo violin. But first, I'll just tell you a little bit about the immigrants that came from China. So in the 1800s, there was a pipeline of goods as well as immigrants from China to New Bedford. Massachusetts merchants and the maritime industry entered the lucrative China and Spice Islands trades. This piece that I would like to share with you, it's kind of, you will hear a blend of East and West and traditional and contemporary. This piece is based on a traditional Chinese folk melody called Jasmine Flower. And this folk melody has gained popularity both in China and abroad. And the piece was written by Dr. Jing Wang, who teaches at UMass Dartmouth. and now lives in Providence, Rhode Island, and she's a Chinese-American composer. And this piece, you'll also hear the violin kind of imitate the erhu, which is a traditional Chinese instrument in some ways. And Jing Wang is actually a virtuoso erhu player. So yeah, it's been interesting to learn this piece and to learn from her about that instrument. So this is Jasmine Flower by Jing Wang.
That was beautiful, Emmy. Really. So, you know, Emmy and I were playing a different concert earlier today in the New Bedford area, and we were mentioning about this live stream tonight, and somebody in the audience said, "Are you playing anything Polish? I'm from Poland," or something. That's not exactly what she said, but it's what I remember. And so guess what? We're playing some Polish music now. The Polish community, of course, is so important. And and I have some. Well, I'm sorry. I shouldn't go on about extra things, but I just I have such great friends who are Polish, who are musician friends and colleagues. So anyway, I'm getting emotional. So we're gonna play music by Frédéric Chopin, which doesn't seem Polish, but he was born in 1810, and he lived in Poland for 20 years before moving to France. So he's absolutely Polish, but we think of him as one of the greatest composers of piano music ever. I mean, and he was considered sort of one of the early musical rock stars of his time. So he was very important. There weren't a lot of other choices for us to play. So we're going to play two Polish songs. He wrote, even after moving to France, he wrote a lot of songs that were based on Polish folk music. He was very influenced by that. I think his heart never left Poland, honestly. And in fact, actually, in 1848, his final concert was given in France, and it was a benefit for Polish refugees. And he died soon after that, actually. So he lived a very short life. But here's an interesting thing, Emmy. I don't know if you know this, and everybody else, but his heart was taken out and preserved in a jar of vinegar, and sent back to Poland. So he really felt very connected, and and the heart still exists today, and it was actually taken out and studied recently. So apparently he may have had years of tuberculosis. Okay, so let's do two Polish songs by Chopin. So now, here's another favorite of mine. We are going to play some Italian music, and I think this is the music where I said the full score is going to be reduced down to 2 plus all the singers and everything. So it should be pretty interesting. Good luck, Emmy. Man, I love Italian music. Maybe it's because I'm married to a second generation Italian American. But we are going to play 2 songs. The first one is Nessun Dorma, and it's a very, very famous aria from the opera Turandot. It's the one where the princess, to get the princess's hand, you have to guess 3 riddles, and if you can't guess them, your head gets chopped off. And so this song is sung by the prince who wants to succeed in this mission. So I have to say that I was very lucky to have performed this particular aria with Luciano Pavarotti at the Boston Garden some years ago. So it's just a very meaningful aria for me. And then we're going to just put a little icing on the cake and do another aria from Rigoletto, which is called La Donna Immobile.
Can't keep all these countries straight. All right, so we are going to visit one more country, and we're going to stay there for a while because it's one of my favorites, and that is Ireland. Also, there's a other really great reason for staying there, and that's Kevin Doyle. But I'll just say a little bit about the Irish immigrants. So as the infamous potato famine ravaged Ireland in the mid-19th century, New Bedford gained a sizable Irish community. And then a little bit later, there was actually another wave of Newfoundland Irish that came as fishermen in the early part of the 20th century. So that's just a little background about the Irish coming here. But more interestingly, maybe, is our next guest on this virtual tour. So Kevin Doyle may have been born in Rhode Island, but his traditional Irish dance will speak of the generations of Irish immigrants who came before him. And I could read an extensive list of many, many awards and honors he has gotten, like the designation as National Heritage Fellow. But tonight I will let his footwork, which is amazing, speak for itself, and he will also tell you some stories as well. As you will discover, his feet are the third instrument in our band, and it is with great pleasure that we bring you Kevin Doyle and his feet.
Thank you. Very proud to be here with Peter and Emma, and thank you to the Whaling Museum for having me down here as well. I just want to tell you quickly how I started doing Irish step dance. My mother came from County Roscommon in the 1930s and landed in Providence, Rhode Island, where she worked as a domestic for the wealthy on the east side of Providence. But like New Bedford and other communities where the Irish moved and settled, they always brought along their music, their song, and their dance. And it was no different in Providence. Growing up in the Irish community, there was no shortage of music in my household. And my mom was a wonderful step dancer. So once the music started in the living room, which would oftentimes start right after church on Sunday and carry on into the evening, she would roll back the rug and away she'd go and start the step dancing. And my sister and I used to sit on the stairs and watch my mom dance, and she had such a smile on her face that we wanted to have some of that joy that she had. And so we asked my mom to start teaching me and my sister Maureen. So at the age of 8, and she was 6, we started to learn our Irish step dancing. And every morning before we went off to school, she'd have us in front of the kitchen sink. We'd have our St. Matthew's uniforms on, and she would go over the steps that she taught us the night before, and she would use mouth music called lilting. And she would lilt MacLeod's reel, and we'd practice our steps, and off to school we'd go. And it was a great tradition, and I thought that was what everybody did in their house. So we really enjoyed it, and I'm so proud today to honor my mom with the steps that started in front of the kitchen sink in Providence, ended up on the national stage. So we're going to start off with some jigs. I'll show you some Irish jigs, some of the very, very early steps, and we'll carry on. Beautiful. So we're going to carry on now with a very old traditional step dance called the hornpipe. Now, a lot of people would ask, when did the Irish dance music or the dancing start having the arms held down by their side? Well, it started with the dance masters in Ireland. And these masters used to travel around from village to village, and they were very well-respected men. They wore flamboyant clothing, walked with a big staff, put up in the nicest farmhouses. And they used to teach people of the village how to dance. But it was also known in those days, they had an assigned territory to dance in. If there was another dance master who encroached on another dance master's territory, boom, there'd be a dance challenge right away. They would take the half doors off the cottage, put them in the crossroads, and the dance contest would begin. So it was oftentimes the man with the best steps, man who could last the longest, and whoever was victorious was entitled to teach in his area as well as the other dance master's territory. He'd be banished from the area. But it was also very common in those days that if a village was envious of the style that was being taught in another village, they would send somebody over there at night to kidnap the dance master, and they would take him back. So I don't think that happens anymore in Ireland. Occasionally in Providence, Rhode Island, that still goes on. But so we're going to start here, right here with a hornpipe. Very old traditional steps taught by the dance masters who made their way across the Atlantic. Thank you. Well, when I was 10 years old, I saw the movie Yankee Doodle Dandy with James Cagney portraying the life of George M. Cohan. And that really lit the bug inside of me that I wanted to add tap dance to my repertoire. So I mentioned it to my mom. I grabbed her by her hand and I brought her in. I said, Mom, I'd like to learn how to do this dancing. And she found a place in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, Teresa Landry School of Dance. And she was just an inspiration. She just died last year at the age of 93 and was still teaching 2 days a week. So she taught me this waltz clog called the Pat Rooney, which was probably done many times in New Bedford's own Zeitarian Theater, right here at a vaudeville house that was famous in the 1920s for their vaudeville acts. But she taught me this, and I always remember her saying that, you know, this dance will carry you through no matter what your sad days are, because it's such a joyful tune and dance combination that is just beautiful. So I'm so happy to be able to share this with you. Very old waltz clog, part of the evolution of the dance. What happened to the dance when it came across the Atlantic? Everybody diversified, became hoofers, tappers, vaudeville, minstrels, and this is a perfect example of that, the waltz clog.
Wow, that was really fun to watch. Okay, so we have just one more set for you, but first I wanted to thank you for joining us for this taste of musical traditions from some of the immigrant groups that make up the sort of colorful smorgasbord of New Bedford's history. As Peter said at the beginning, this is a collaboration between the New Bedford Symphony Orchestra and the New Bedford Whaling Museum. And tonight we've had a chance to sample the flavor of this once international port city immortalized in Herman Melville's Moby Dick. And we took a virtual tour of the eclectic musical sounds that have enriched this culturally diverse city. I want to give a special thanks again to the staff at the Whaling Museum and to our wonderful leaders at the New Bedford Symphony, and of course to Kevin Doyle for joining us with his amazing feat. So we're going to do a set of reels to end things off, and these are Ships Are Sailing and Star of Munster. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as we rumble down the cobblestone streets of this storied city. Thanks for tuning in and have a great night.